This video will cover 5 charting tricks that will benefit any beginner charter, and might even help the more advanced charters too. Please do keep in mind that if you are using Editor on Fire, most of these tips won't work for you. This video is intended for charts that use the .chart file format. 1. How to fix an incorrect sustain gap size. It happens to all of us occasionally. You accidentally used too small of a sustain gap size, or you didn't use sustain gaps at all. Not to worry though, there's a pretty easy solution, though there is one drawback. First, set your sustain gap size by navigating to the Options tab, Settings, then use the arrows to correct the sustain gap size. Use the guide that's on screen to choose the correct step. This will be in the description of this video. Before you do the next step, make sure that Extended Sustains mode is toggled off. You can do this by hitting the hotkey E. Push Ctrl and A to select all the notes, and left-click any note. This will automatically apply sustain gaps throughout the chart. As I mentioned earlier before, there is a huge drawback to this. If your chart does have extended sustains, they will be deleted, and you'll have to redo them. 2. I charted a song at half, or double, the tempo of what the song actually needs to be. First, navigate to the site linked in the description, and open your .chart file in Notepad. Push Ctrl A to select all of the text, and then paste it into the input box at the top. If you chart it at double the BPM the song needs to be, then set the multiplier field to 0.5. And if you charted it at half of the BPM, then keep it at 2. Then, you copy all the text in the output box and replace the old text that was in the .chart file. Then you hit save. You will need to rescan in order for this change to take effect. 3. How to correctly assign a difficulty to your chart. You might be confused when you assign a difficulty in Moonscraper and it doesn't show up in-game. Well, there's a reason why. The difficulty you entered into the field in Moonscraper was saved into the .chart files field, which isn't used by Clone Hero. To get your difficulty to show up, navigate to your song.ini file in your charts folder, and then change the diff_guitar field from -1 to whatever difficulty you want. Then save. If you need help figuring out what difficulty to rate your chart, check out the difficulty guide by Custom Song Central, link in the description. 4. Preview start time and loading_phrase. Speaking of the song.ini file, there are 2 very useful fields in it that some people don't even use. We'll start with preview start time. As the name would suggest, this field sets the time that the preview in the songs list starts at. Many set this before the first or second chorus of the song, but you can set it wherever you think is right. It's set to 0 by default, so just enter the amount of time in milliseconds, which is just 3 zeros added onto the amount of seconds you want. It'll play from that point for roughly 30 seconds in the songs list after you rescan your song. The second one is loading_phrase, and it's the phrase you see at the top of the screen in the difficulty menu. And this one currently isn't in the song.ini file by default, so just add it to the bottom of the file like this. Don't forget the spaces around the equal sign, though. Then, just enter the text you want to show up. But don't use line breaks, as it will cut the phrase off and might even break the chart. 5. Center isolation/removal. If you're having trouble hearing the guitar, there is a way to hear it a bit more clearly. Open up Audacity and load in the audio. Press Ctrl and A to select all. Go to the Effects menu at the top, go to the bottom, and click on Vocal Reduction and Isolation. The next step depends on which guitar you're trying to isolate. If you're trying to isolate the rhythm guitar, choose the action Remove Center. And if you want to isolate the lead guitar, set the action to Isolate Center. If for whatever reason it doesn't work, try both settings. The sliders don't do anything with these settings. You can use this tip in other audio editors as well, but I personally only know Audacity, so just try and look for a center removal and isolation tool in your audio editing software. I hope you can use these 5 tips to improve your charting experience.